All right. Hello, everyone. It's Katrine with Blend Precisely and Blend Precisely Academy. And today I have Kayla, and I let her pronounce her last name. I tried, we practiced, it's not working. So, Kayla, welcome to Blend Precisely and also Blend Precisely Academy, first of all. But may you please introduce yourself for a short moment, especially with your name?
Yes, my name's Kayla Fioravanti.
Okay,
It's a
now one
rough
more time
last name,
slower.
Fioravanti, but we all say it differently, so it's really
Doesn't
totally
really.
wrong.
And so I think it's a beautiful name, but I have a hard time. I hate mispronouncing names, and actually it's not so bad because everybody mispronounces my name as well wrong. I'm like, whatever. But I like to do it. So Kayla Fioravanti.
Good.
Okay, great. Welcome. So why I brought Kayla in here today is because she is in our community and she's been active in our community and so helpful for, I don't know how long, like almost a couple of years you're in the community, Aromatherapist and business community. I've seen your name everywhere.
I've been in the industry since 1998.
Okay, definitely for a longer time already. So 1998. Okay, so first of all, let's start out. You have several businesses, you have a history as well. Can you maybe let us know a little bit how everything started? What is the past and what is the present? Where are you coming from and how did you get to do what you're doing today?
Okay, that's a lot here. Let's see. Well, I got
let's
started.
start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get started in the beginning.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it all started. I became an accidental aromatherapist because
Oh,
my
yes.
son got ringworm on his face and nothing was working. And I had gone to the doctor and gotten a prescription and I had done the over the counter. Neither was working at all. And so I was like, all right, I'll go to the health food store because in the States, that's like the closest thing to going to the apothecary because I grew up in Germany and Japan and Texas and all over the place. But I got that kind of idea that you go to the apothecary to go find a cure. So that was kind of why I ended up in a health food store. And I'm looking through the books and I asked people, I'm like, what should I get? And they're like, well, I don't know. So let's look through the books together. So we sat there and looked and everything said tea tree. Everything pointed to tea tree. And I was highly allergic to fragrances. So I had been living a completely scent-free life since like about when I was 8. I started having problems with fragrances and then it just propelled from there. And so I was like, all right, but I got to get this kid better. So I bought the tea tree and it didn't bother me and it cured the tea tree. And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
The ringworm.
Right. It cured. Yeah. Crazy. Yes. Thank you.
I'm glad tea tree is here too.
A bad tea tree. Yeah, it cured it and I didn't get sick. And that made me really curious about essential oils, which I just kind of always thought were this woo-woo thing that had no science behind it. And I'm all about the science of things. So I went to the library and I rented book you could find on essential oils and I ordered every book that was not in the state and I read them and became just obsessed with essential oils and because yeah, I mean, going for so long with no sense to having all of a sudden this whole array of things that I could use absolutely fascinated me. So I'm a little bit of a fanatic when it comes to research, so I just kept researching, fell in love with it, and I was talking about aromatherapy to everybody. And Christmas was coming up and I was broke. My husband at the time was in college, so we had no, money to buy Christmas presents. So I was like, well, I'll make Christmas presents out of the tea tree and make soap. So
who would give tea tree as a gift to others, right? That's pretty bold.
It was pretty bold, yeah, I know, but somehow it really worked. Like the soap must have been really amazing or something because we ended up we put mail order catalogs with the presents just in case people liked it.
Wait a second. You started using tea tree oil for your son. But for Christmas, you had already mail order catalogs then ready?
Well, no, we just made them for that. We just like, this was before the internet, you know, so we just made a
Wow.
sheet, an order sheet basically
Yeah.
of the different soaps and the colors that you could get them in, and the tea tree, because that's all I had at the time. My $11 was invested in that 11 in there. Um, and they had these reorder forms, and actually surprisingly before Christmas even, people had opened them and ordered them as gifts for other people as well. So I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So that just kind of started this little business, and people started going, well, do you happen to have an ointment for this? Do you happen to have that? And gosh, you're so passionate about this essential oils. What else can you teach me, and
So
what
can I
else do you
just
have?
ask you, was that 1998? Was that already,
Yes, that was a Christmas of 1998.
Christmas of 1998, and that is pre-internet. That was like where we did everything in writing with mail orders
Yes.
and printing forms and invoices, like these
Yes.
double blue invoice thing. Okay, so wow, that is so beautiful. And you started out basically with gifts for your families, put in this little order sheet in case somebody else wanted to order something more, and they did.
Yes. Yep. And so, and I kept talking about essential oils because I was passionate about it. A friend was like, you should come over to my house, bring your products. Cause by then I had like a, two ointments, something for a headache and something for a muscle ache, and the soap still. And I think maybe one other product. And she's like, come to my house and tell my friends about aromatherapy, and maybe they'll buy some stuff. And I was like, okay, that's a great idea. So I go over to her house and we have a little party, and I just start teaching about aromatherapy and passing around my products and telling people to try them on while I'm talking. And when I finished, I had $500 worth of orders, which
No
is
way.
crazy. Yeah, so this is early 1999 now, and $500 worth of orders in 1999 is a lot of money.
That
And
is.
people came up to me afterwards and they were like, "So, how do we join your party plan?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I will tell you on Monday."
Oh my goodness. So these are basically one accident or one thing led to the next thing. And
Yes.
it's basically like MLM without being MLM, no networking yet networking.
Right, right. So on Monday, so over the weekend, I basically came home and told my husband and said, we're going to start a party plan. I already have consultants. Let's write that. So just wrote a party plan, and then literally the business just absolutely exploded from those two people. Because we were just kind of in the right place at the right time. I think there was, people were really interested in natural health, and they were interested in natural topical products, that kind of sort of thing. And off it went. And
Wow.
from there, that people wanted shampoos and lotions and creams and that sort of thing. So I went back to the library and I read, because that was the only place you could get information then.
No, I know. Yes.
I went back and I found the patents. There's books and books and books with patents of formulas. So I read the patents of chemical formulas, and I was like, okay, now I have to figure out how, because I was allergic to chemical products in general. I couldn't use, I basically washed my face with olive oil, was all I could use, or before the soap that I
Which
started
is
making.
not the worst to wash your face with if it's good
Right, right,
olive oil.
right. And so I read those, and from there I called various suppliers that were listed in those patent books, and I asked them, how would I do this naturally? I want to make lotion, but I want not to have all these ingredients that are in it because I'm allergic to them. And they were like, can't be done. Cosmetics are chemical for a reason. They use these ingredients
Okay.
for a reason. I was like, okay, well, challenge accepted.
I bet at this point, I totally believe you. You seem to be a challenge taker.
Yes. So I then just basically started experimenting until I figured out how to make lotion and creams, and everything just kind of grew from there. and this was before there were books on how to do it on the market. So I just basically started experimenting. I figured it out, minus the chemicals that they said couldn't be done without.
That's incredible.
And from there, basically the party plant had gotten out of control. It was too large. We didn't have the infrastructure to manage the orders coming in and manage the paying out the people and all that. So it was just like, it was overwhelming. We were working around the clock. Had a young family. We had my son, Keegan was like, he would have been maybe 6 or 7. A baby, I was pregnant. Oh, it was just crazy times.
So this is like a perfect example that a business can go almost too well to the point that it can kill you as well, because it's just too much. It's
right.
like,
so that's where you have to say, okay, something is like, we're succeeding, but we're not succeeding. We're succeeding in in orders coming in, but we're not succeeding in life because we're killing ourselves. And it's hard to keep up. And so that's where basically I got the idea to start selling. What was popular was the bases I had come up with, the lotions and the creams, because they were so natural and so clean compared to everything that was on the market then. And so basically it was like, well, we called supplier or manufacturers and said, we wanted to see if you'll make our lotion, make our cream for it, and send it back to us, and we'll, fulfill the orders from there. And they were like, yes, we will do that. We did a pallet of product or 4 drums of the product. Which would you like? And we were like, we're in like 600 square foot apartment at the time, going, well, yeah, that's not going to work. Where would I put those? And had no money to do it, no credit to do that.
yeah, so the order minimum at that point was way too high.
So outrageous. And so that's where we saw the opportunity, in that there were people like us who would want to start a business in their homes and didn't want to have to buy a pallet or truckloads of product. So we started Essential Wholesale, and Essential Wholesale started with the idea of having a half gallon as the smallest size of a finished base, and 100-piece minimum for private label, so that people could just put their own label on instead of pallets and pallets of products. So we're just really the right place, right time, saw the opportunity, jumped in it, and we exploded from there. At that time, we were in an 800 square foot facility that I figured that if we failed, we could live in. If all else failed.
So what year was that actually? What year did you?
That would have been about 2000, right around there. Yeah.
And you just
where
kept
we
on
were
doing the small side until it completely blew up and
Yep.
Went out of order pretty much. And then you started around 2000 creating Essential Wholesales.
Right. Yeah. Right around there. 2002. I can't remember the years exactly.
Yeah, no,
way back when. But yeah, and we started that with that low minimum, and like crazy. At the same time, Indie Business was starting around the same time too, and we put ads on Indie Business. And like, we were the ones who reached out to her and said, hey, how much for an ad? And she was like, I'll tell you on Monday. So we're so it was everybody kind of at that time, everyone was just kind of scrapping and bootstrapping and figuring out how.
I remember when that came out, actually. Oh wow, you were right in the beginnings there too.
Yeah, so we were all over her page, and she was growing and we were growing, and people were finding us, and other people, soap guilds and all that kind of stuff. Aromatherapy, went to in Seattle, went to the NAHA conference and had a little booth there and was handing out samples galore. And we gave away so many samples, and I remember being just terrified giving away so much stuff because we were so strapped. And it came back, tenfold, because a lot of those people are still customers.
Yeah, that is such an interesting point, because I think a lot of people, they are so conscious when they start out with their businesses and afraid of actually the costs around it. Normal. I mean, everybody who starts out with bootstrapping their own business it's darn hard, right? But I think there are like a few things where you always should think, am I going to go out for dinner or am I going to do the samples that will pay
Mm-hmm.
my future dinners? And I
Right.
think that is almost like a mindset thing that needs to happen, that you believe in, like, oh, in the future, I'm going to have 10 of those dinners. Today, I'm going to take the money and put it into sample production. Believe
Right.
and believing in your business and making sure that every step you take, you never know how it's going to come out, but it's okay to take that step and run that risk. And I
Right.
think you seem to be not only falling into these it's just funny that you start one thing and the response seems to be always coming back. That is very
Mm-hmm.
rarely happening in business, but maybe, as you mentioned, you were at the right time with the right people with the right product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And we made some big mistakes. Like, as Essential Wholesale was growing, there were times where there were other things that tempted us away from our focus on it. So,
Interesting.
like, at one time, we started a company. Well, when we moved out of one, because we kept moving buildings as we'd outgrow each building. And so we were in a 5,000 square foot building, and we'd outgrown it. No, that was a 2,000 square foot building. We'd outgrown it, and our UPS man was like, "I'm going to find you a new building. This is ridiculous," because he was like having so much trouble getting things in and out of the building. So, but anyway, when we left that building, we still had a lease on it, and the smartest thing to have done would have been to just ride that lease out. But
Right.
instead, we were like, let's put another business in there,
Oh,
and that
goodness.
diverted our focus. We started a company called Bon Nature, which was a retail line of skincare and a spa. It had a local spa, and it
Wow.
was such a distraction. Essential Wholesale took, growth went down that year, or at
Okay.
least that first year of it. And then we figured out what we were doing and fixed it. But yeah, there's mistakes you can make even when you're in the middle of succeeding, to
Absolutely. Yeah.
sabotage yourself.
And yes, exactly. And that's actually one thing I teach in the business growth membership, is that it's much better to take one product, one idea, and run it all the way through, and then add on at a later point when you feel like, okay, you have completed. But sometimes opportunities arise. And
Right.
then what do you do? And then you stand in front of like, oh, that's a nice new building over there. Still have a lease on this one. So
Right.
how do you make the right decision in that moment?
Well, what we should have done, our mentor was out of town, and we didn't ask him. We just went with it and ran with it. And when he got back to town, we were already in the middle of the run with it. And he was like, "What are you doing?" um,
Wow.
so really, mentorship, I think, is so key, and running things past people, and
Yes.
making, other people in business, and not just going with kind of your, manic moment idea, and running with it, I think
Yeah.
is really key. And
Yeah.
then we eventually completely shut down the company, the Bonneture company, without, we just lost the money that we had put into it, didn't sell it
Mhm.
or anything, just shut it down because it was such a tug on Essential Wholesale, and that was the baby.
So did you run these two companies for how long together?
In different versions of Bonneture, probably a year and a half to 2 years, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's long enough to
But
really exhaust
yeah,
yourself.
the spa we shut down probably in less than a year, because
Yeah.
people don't show up to work. and,
Yeah.
and you got another building, and people didn't show up, and you're not there, and that's
That's bad.
stressful.
And that's exactly what you have with the retail business. You do
Mhm.
have the face employees, and if they don't show up, then sorry,
It's
shit
you.
goes down the hill. That is
Yeah.
you, and then you have to jump in. And if you should be at the other business, of course, it's difficult then. So dealing
Yeah.
with personnel or employees, that is another whole level in a retail environment. So
Yeah.
you shut that down then, both of those, not both, the spa and then the retail line a little bit later on, you shut down, and
Hmm.
then you
Hmm.
kept the Essential Wholesale. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
We stayed focused on that and continued growing it, and eventually
Smart
sold
move.
it. And
Oh yeah, okay. So tell me about that part. So you decided at one point to let go of it, and why?
yeah, so we had hired somebody to help us plan for a 5 to 10 year exit plan, because you can't just like one day say, "Hey, I want to sell this giant company." You got to like make some steps towards it. So the goal was 5 to 10 years from the time that we hired this person. We wanted to sell Essential Wholesale. And what ended up happening was that she got in there and she was working and seeing the numbers and involved in it. And she was like, "So what would you take to walk away now?" She said, "I will go get the money myself to buy this company with investors. Um,
Wow.
Tell me the number." And we gave her the walkaway number after taxes.
Yeah.
And she said, "All right, I'll go get it." And she did. A year later, we were sold.
Oh my God, I have shivers. That is incredible. So let me ask you something. How how did you know that you need to hire all of these different people or have them in your life, the mentor, and then somebody who knows exit strategies at the time you actually start? Where did you get the information from?
We've always been involved with Indie Business Network, and then we also were part of like in-person CEO sort of meeting, where people challenge each other and talk each other's businesses
Nice.
through.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely vital, and that's actually where the buyers came out of too. They came out of that CEO forum, and it's so vital to support from other people who are doing what you're doing, not just people who are coaches who in
Yeah.
theory know what you're doing, but people who are also in the trenches and have experienced it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of coach you want, and that's the kind of mentor you want. um
That is a
so
good point. Yes.
yeah, so I mean that's basically that. When we were always learning, always there were, if there was a course someplace or some talk or a book to read, we were just always in the midst of all that. Uh, a couple of years in, we won Inc. 5,000 fastest growing businesses in America, and then we made that list 3 years in a row. And we went to the conferences, and at those conferences, it was mind blowing, the kind of training and teaching that those conferences were giving,
Yeah.
because it was just like next level sort of business training
And I
that,
think that's exactly what you need in your business.
yeah.
You need to stay on the business side in the business as well. I mean,
Mhm.
it's one thing to create blends and be in your element and do all of this, but I think if you wouldn't look or if you wouldn't have engaged with the business side as much as you did, I don't
Mhm.
think, you would have gone the way you went, probably
Yeah,
being active,
definitely.
keep up with all the business news and so on. So I mean, as tiring as it sounds, but a lot of people would love to stay in their own little world and create blends and maybe have a consultation every now and then, but that's not going to pay the bills at the end.
Right. Right.
And
Unless that's exactly the size. I mean, everybody's got a business that's perfect for them. And for some people, it's a business that just pays for dance lessons for their kids. And for some people, it's to support an entire family. And for other people, they want to make millions. So
right.
everybody's in a different spot, and it's all okay.
Exactly.
And
No, it is. Yeah. And I think to grow your business, just I think it's really beautiful and important to be surrounded by like-minded people that, as what you said, they went through what you went through before you, and you can learn from them. I think that is so beautiful and important as well.
yeah.
So once you sold the essential wholesale business, wholesale essentials? No, which way was it now?
Essential Wholesale.
Essential wholesale. Once you sold that one, what happened? Or why did
Um,
you actually want to sell it?
well, the original thought was that, down the road that would be a great, retirement. Because at the time I was in my 40s. But when she made that offer, I was actually at my mom's bedside when she was dying
Mm.
and really evaluating my life.
Mm.
And I still had two young kids, and one that we really all struggled. He struggled, we all struggled. And I wanted to not have those girls go through the same kind of struggle. So I really wanted to change my focus back to raising them and not be so divided.
Yeah.
So it was just, again, the right timing. It was something I wanted road and I wasn't ready to do at the moment. Earlier when we hired her, I had no intention of saying, yeah, let's go in less, a couple months. But things changed, life changed, and it just really made me reevaluate things. And I'm glad I did. It was the
Beautiful.
right timing.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, again, the right timing, right place in that moment.
Yeah.
And at any time in your business, did you have any kind of objections coming your way, or any kind of negativity, or even bad experiences? And how did you deal with those?
Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, yeah. I mean, when in the business while we were doing it, it's so broke. Our parents would be like, "When is one of you going to go get a job?" And you're like, "No, we're not."
Sorry.
So there was family thought we were crazy, but then they were later like, "Wow, okay, you did the right thing," and so proud of you. But no, I've failed terribly in business as well. I mean, before Essential Wholesale, uh, my ex and I went bankrupt in another business. So Essential Wholesale was built totally on cash because it's all we had. No credit, no nothing.
Yeah.
And so I had that huge failure. I kind of emotionally attached to Bon Nature. So losing that and letting it go was really a hard thing. And so basically how I've always dealt with those sorts of things is I give myself 24 hours to absolutely have the biggest pity party in the world, like cry and wail and, oh, it's the Memorial Day thing, I'm never going to, 24 hours. And then as soon as the next day, wake up, pity party's canceled, on we go. Let's find the
I love that.
solution, because otherwise you're like dragging along all your stuff. I'm like, just okay, let's just deal with it. I've had it. I've gotten it out of my system.
Oh,
And
I love that. I love that. Yes. So
yeah, so
important. Okay, so yes, so it's not that you just started something and everything blossomed and bloomed. So you did have some knockdowns earlier on in life, and
oh yeah.
oh yeah, and they seem to have been also the difficult ones. It's not that easy to actually go through them, but you did, and you faced those challenges bravely and just took on the next. How long was it between the old business and then the new one?
Oh, I had a 6-year non-compete. So I had to stay out of the industry for 6 years. So in that time frame, I had a publishing company. So I sold that when my non-compete ended. And
Wow, so that was part of the contract, basically.
yeah.
Okay.
It was a 5-year non-compete and a year another separate year contract that held me out of the industry for 6 years.
Yeah. So was that difficult actually to sign something like this?
At the time I did it, it didn't seem that long,
Yeah.
but then in reality, because I do love what I do, I love the industry so much, it was hard. Thankfully, I was still like sought after as a speaker, and people were like, well, okay, so you can't talk on aromatherapy, how about you teach us about publishing? So I was able to stay connected and in the industry, and I just talked about different things. that so
Yeah.
that was great. That made it easier, because yeah, I love the people in this industry, and so I was still connected, but just in a different way, as serving in another way.
I'm amazed, Kayla. I'm really amazed by all these the little ways actually, or opportunities that came at you, and you actually took them because they felt right. In growing your business, in changing your business, in selling your business, and you took everything, it looks like from the outside at least, gracefully, and you did it, but always for one reason or another, and it always worked out all right. if I
it
can.
all does, even when you're going through hard things, it all works out all right in the end. We just have to keep trudging towards that all right.
Yeah. No, I have seen that many times with myself as well. So I definitely know what you're talking about. So now we are here and today, and I know you have a new business, and it involves not a new business, but it's been on the market now for how long? And let's speak out the name. Ology Essentials.
Yes, Ology Essentials. We started in 2017, the day my contract ended. So I let them, like, literally December 1st was the day that my contract released me, and we launched December 1st.
Wow. So you started this business by yourself or with a partner, or?
Yeah, so I started Ology Essentials with my kids, actually. So
And they
my
were how old were they at that
now
point?
everybody's an adult now. So
Wow.
yeah, so this one, so when Ology Essentials started, my original plan to come back in the industry was just to start in an aromatherapy school and be a formulator for hire. So you could hire me, I would formulate your product and then send the formula you off to somebody to manufacture. And that's what I was set out to do. And then right before, so this was like early in 2017, I was kind of building to have that all ready to go. And then my son kept saying, yeah, but if you're going to get back in the industry, you got to try hemp CBD. You got to try it. You got to try it. And I was just like,
Smart boy.
nah, I've seen every ingredient under the sun. It can't be that amazing. It can't be, I've seen them all. So anyway, my son is really persistent. So I saw somebody that I trusted who was doing testing for a company. So I touched bases with the company he was doing the testing for, said, hey, I see that who your testing is being done by, and I'd like to try a sample. And because I'm also really particular about what I eat, what I put on my body, what I put in. So I wanted to know I trusted it. So I got samples and I was like, all right, I'll try this. And I was thinking maybe it'll kind of maybe touch the pain that I have. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder. So chronic pain all the time. And I've always used a combination of natural medicine and regular medicine to address it. But I'd kind of gotten to the point where just nothing. I was having trouble sleeping because I was in so much pain. I was going to have a hysterectomy. I was having so many problems. And so I was just, I was like, maybe it'll just touch the pain. And literally the first week that I was trying the CBD, I no longer needed a hysterectomy. All the symptoms I'd been struggling with for a year were over and gone and never came back. And then my pain was drastically reduced and my sleep was already starting to improve. And so that, of course, was mind-blowing to me. So I was like, I called my son. I was like, hey, so what are we doing? Let's start a company. Let's go. So
and he was right.
Yeah. So I already had Ology Essentials was the name of my school, was what I was going to name my school. So I was like, all right, we're borrowing that.
Oh,
and off we went. And that was about a month before my non-compete was going to end. So we very quickly shifted gears and launched Ology Essentials. Yeah. And I went with a retail brand. And I started my school and it's very much a self-paced, you're on your own because here's all the material. I mean, obviously ask me questions and that sort of thing, but it's more for the business owner who wants the education but doesn't have time for school, kind of school. Yeah. But the majority of our focus became this retail company, and it was humming along and growing, and then COVID.
Did you have a retail store actually for
we did not have we for a moment had a little retail store, okay, but there were other things that were involved in that made that not work. But
yeah,
we didn't have a retail store. We were in stores and we were mostly dependent on these wholesale contracts.
Okay, so you
Or,
had wholesale accounts and your own
yeah,
website.
right, and a distributor. And we had orders on their way out that all got returned because the stores were closed,
Yes.
and we're like, all right, now what?
Oh my
So
goodness, yes. I mean, that sorry. COVID, oh my goodness, right? That killed so
yeah,
many businesses.
yeah, it was a big shift and a really fast pivot that we all had to take. So I ended up uh, finding out about the FDA allowing for the hand sanitizer. So we
Oh, you
got,
did that one.
yeah, we did the over the counter with the FDA. We registered and
Yep.
went that route, and that carried us for a little while we readjusted, and then we really started focusing on the private label. We had some going on. We were doing some people's products, but that became our main focus, was helping other people's brands. A lot of people ended up losing their jobs and saying, I'm going to start a brand. I'm going to start a company.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And that is like such a smart pivot actually during those times.
yeah, so we basically pivoted back to my roots, which is wholesale and private label.
Isn't that
So
interesting? Like how everything comes around in circles and that's how it
yes,
starts and ends. Yeah, wow.
right.
It's beautiful.
So that's how we ended up now with, we recently launched Ology Essentials Labs division, just so we could separate out the two.
I would
And
love
so
to
we,
go onto the website. Can we just do that for a
yeah,
moment for the ones that are actually maybe watching right now?
yeah,
So let me just go and share the screen so people know what we are talking about, at least for the ones that are watching us here. And
yeah.
then if you're on audio, you just need to go to where the video is, which is going to sit on YouTube as well. But let me just hide my floating panel here for a moment. And there we go. And then we can go over. So I'm here on Ology Essentials, and then you have Ology Essential Labs.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
tell me where I should go first.
So Ology Essentials, that one is our retail brand, and everything on that product line is available for white label. So everything on there, people can just take my product, put their label on it, and we have a 25-piece minimum for it. So that's kind of how we started moving over into this direction. And then as we kind of expanded and started having more and more people wanting me to custom formulate, that's why we really needed to start the lab side, so that you could not be constrained by what you see there. We can do far beyond what's on our websites.
So
So
tell me how this would work right now. Let's say
yeah.
Katrine comes to you and says, okay, I would love to start this process out with you. I don't have the facilities to do it myself. I'm a small business, and tell me, what is your minimum order and so on. I would love to do that.
So basically there's white labeling,
Okay.
minimum.
Can we
Very
just
simple
go
and
for a
easy.
moment into white labeling, in case for some of the listeners that don't know what white labeling, white labeling is all about?
Yeah, it is basically, it's taking the exact product with no changes of one company. So for us, Ology Essentials, and putting your label on it. So we put the label on. It falls under our insurance. We cover all that because it leaves our facility with a label and a shrink band. And then the minimum's just 25 pieces. But
So
if you want to
this is what
customize,
this is,
okay,
right? So
yeah,
that is
white labeling.
your products basically, or with your formulation, order 25 products minimum, and you put the label on, you put the shrink wrap around, and you ship it off to my home.
Correct. And sometimes for some people, we ship it to their customers. So we also have fulfillment.
You do?
Basically, yeah. And we also have an in-house printer. So we can do those small run printing. in-house. And then when people's businesses grow, we generally then connect with a bigger printer and they buy thousands of labels at a time. But on the small run, we tend to, a lot of people start with our labels
That's
in-house.
incredible.
Yeah, because it saves a lot of money. You don't want to buy, 1,000 labels and
Oh yeah,
are buying 25 pieces. So that was
exactly.
one of our investments that we had made for our brand, basically, because we did the math of what it would cost to get all labels printed for our line, versus if we did it all in-house and bought the printer. And it was a significant savings to buy the printer, and pay for it over several years. We just finished paying for it. And it's turned out to be a fabulous thing because now we can do these small run private label for everyone else as well.
That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. So we have private labeling as well. What is that?
Yes. That's where you come to me and you either could say, I like your product, but I want it in a different scent, or I want this special ingredient in it. And that'd be like semi-custom formulating, where I make a little change to our product. It's just like the next fastest way to be to market. Then the private labeling also then is where you come to me and you say, I have an idea. I have either a product that I like out there on the market, or just an idea for a product and it's never been done. And you come to me and I talk to you. We come up with what is a preservative system, what's an emulsifying system that fits within the values of your company, because that's so critical that everything matches with your product, and your values. So we basically design a product or product line based exactly on what your desires are, scent, all that kind of sort of thing gets developed in there. And then we send samples back and forth till you're happy with the formula. And then we manufacture it and put your label on it. And that is only a 50-piece minimum.
That is
So
amazing.
yeah.
That and the minimum, what you mentioned before, if you go to a normal regular formulation or supplier, you have to order these pallets full of products normally.
Yes.
And it's impossible for a small business to start out with any of this, having these funds available. You need to get a personal loan, a business loan, and so on. And you still have all of the fears around it. Is it going to take off? And this way, with these minimums, it's actually really possible and feasible to create a business and try things out. And if they work well, you order more. And if not, at least you can move on to the next. So what kind of products? I see bath bombs, lotions. What kind of products do you do?
We do?
Yeah.
Pretty much anything that goes on the body. And so we've done baby care. We do CBD, non-CBD. We do aromatherapy. Actually, the only thing we won't do when it comes to the body is we won't work with fragrance oils. So that's our kind of no, where we're not the right person. And then what was it? I got lost in my answer.
Yeah, no. What kind of products you're offering?
What kind of products?
Yeah. And I see it here now.
Well, you're seeing some of our bulk bases. We're just now launching the bulk bases, and this is so that's our next level of kind of trying to serve the small business. This is so you can buy the bulk base and then put your essential oils, or finish it off at home for yourself. And all of those are available with or without CBD. There's a little drop down menu on each one of them. And there's way more coming. This is a new launch on this side, but we're trying to make it easier for you to just kind of get the product, choose the way you want to have it, and then we'll send them to you.
That's incredible.
That body balm, that massage balm I'm obsessed with it right now. It is such a great, it's just a great, it's got a great texture and feel and slip. And I have a massage coming up tomorrow, and I'm bringing that.
You're bringing that one. You're bringing your own products to your massage.
I do always do that. Of my allergies, I am still allergic to a lot of that's on the market. So I go to the spa with all my own products.
Wow, I love this. So I'm curious, one more thing is about the micro testing.
Yeah. So basically, if your product has any water in it,
Yes.
should be micro tested. And even if your preservative system should work, you should have it double checked and backed up. And that's always been something that's been kind of really expensive, kind of hard to get the testing done to check your products. So we're now offering those services, $35. We run the test. We send you a report back, whether it passed or failed. If it failed, we give you suggestions. We check to make sure that your preservative system is at the right pH. Everything's all as it should be to make everything work correctly. And then we'll give you advice. And we recently had one where the advice was, please recall your product, because it was such a huge micro test failure.
Oh, wow.
And the product was on the market, looked totally fine, looked completely fine, but it grew really, really quickly. So
Wow.
that service is, I think, the peace of mind to know that your product is good and safe is worth that. And eventually, there was new legislation passed in the omnibus bill,
Yes.
and in that bill, we are going to have to substantiate eventually the safety of our products, and some of that might be substantiating by proving that it's been tested as well in some levels.
That's a great service also. Especially now, I see more and more aromatherapists studying cosmetics as well and natural skincare. But the preservative system is something you really need to know your game. And if you don't know, then don't distribute it, basically. But so somebody could send in a sample here directly to Tennessee, I see. And then it's per sample $36.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, 36. I forgot. Yeah.
It says here, but
yeah, I can't. I have terrible vision, so I can't actually see it.
Oh, well, hi there. I'm Katrine, Kayla. Nice to meet you.
I am blind to that.
So we're coming almost up to an hour, but I'm so fascinated. I have just one question. How do you do this all?
Yeah, good question. I do it all with a team. Basically, originally it was me, my daughter-in-law, and my son, and we just kind of each did what our skill set was. My daughter-in-law is who makes us look beautiful. She does all the graphics, all the
Gorgeous.
she does all our customers, helps them with their labels. She's fabulous. And she does the website. She really kind of is the image of Ology Essentials.
Yeah.
And then my son was the business side of it. His business actually also exploded, so he had to step out. But we're all in the same building again. So his business and our business are in the same new building. We just moved in February.
That's amazing. Is this your daughter-in-law here? Can you see that?
No, she took the pictures. She's the one that's taking the pictures. That's her hand in the one with the mountains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is your logo. I'm going to come back quickly to you because you have a few products behind you.
See my daughter-in-law in the picture on the couch with me.
Oh, I see this one here.
Yeah.
Oh, she's cute. Oh, beautiful. Oh gosh, you are having a beautiful, amazing business. Let me get back from sharing and get you back on the screen.
There you are. I can see you again.
Now I'm big enough. But you have the products in the background. So tell me right now, what is just like, what has been your greatest inspiration and what kept you going through all of these, 20, 30 years now?
Yes. Going, yeah. What are we at? 24 years, I think, something like that.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I love the industry. I love essential oils. I love educating people. And really kind of the heart behind my business is supporting other small businesses. So it is my growth Essential Wholesale only grew because a lot of other people succeeded, and Ology Essentials now is only growing because other people are succeeding. And that is how I love to have my business integrated and built. So,
So beautiful.
yeah.
It's just really, I think it's just like one of the most beautiful things to see a customer take anything you teach them and they succeed with it. It's such a gift. Yeah, I'm so with you. So if you were to right now look into the future, just as a closing, where are you going to be in 5 years? What you gonna do?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna still be doing Ology Essentials, and we will have a massive amount of bulk bases, lots of customers that we are growing and supporting and helping the little guy and the big guy and everybody in between. We do international business as well, so it's fun to see that as well, and to see aromatherapy and CBD growing in Japan right now. Like one of our bigger customers is in Japan, and it's really cool to see that. I love witnessing that. So I just want to see more and more of watching natural products and natural companies bloom and succeed and growing. And I just want to be part of it, and kind of part of the support system that helps people get there.
Yeah. So what would you tell someone right now who's just starting out creating a new business, if it is in skincare formulation or aromatherapy, or in just starting out? What would you tell them from all the years of experience you had? And just a few, I don't know, sentences.
I think my main topic, like my main advice, is to get a mentor, get connected with people in the industry, and don't go in and be like the first person you see, will you be my mentor? Start getting to know people and making connections, because I think you'll organically find people who you support each other. So I currently, there's a group of 3 of us who have been entrepreneurs together. We call ourselves sisterpreneurs, and we text from morning to night every day, and we text all our personal and our business stuff, and we support each other through all of it. One of us has a crisis, we're all on the phone together. So create those relationships so that you are building not only a business, but a life and a lifestyle, and relationships that will, stick with you. And that, and these friends of mine, I stepped out of the industry, and we all stayed friends, and we all stayed and grew together. And then I stepped back in. So it's kind of nice to be able to go through these transitions together, and to stick together through those things. So get involved with people, whether it's watching podcasts, but also finding ways to be connected with the people that are giving the podcasts, the schools that they have, the different ways that they have meetings, join indie business, join those kind of things, and go on the adventures. Like indie business, some of my best relationships have been through there, because she creates these adventures, once a year, like they have the indie cruise. And you go and experience time together. And
did you go on one of them? Obviously you did.
I've been on a couple of them. But they're so fabulous for creating real relationships. There's conferences, those sorts of things. Go to them and get those relationships so that you have that support as you grow.
The support system is so important, so important. I don't think I could have done it without any of the mentors I had, and coaches and friends and families. And wherever you go, you got to turn to those people and ask them questions, right? Be open yourself, but also do ask questions, because it helps you along the line. So last thing, can you show us the products that are normally in your shower when you test them out?
Oh yeah. So I've always think, we have the pretty image, and then this is what's in my bathroom, like all these little.
So how do you know what is in all of them?
They all have a little, they have a little label on them, like this one, just has a little description, curl base with hold, so they all have a little tiny label that gives me a clue of what they are. the customer, because basically when I custom formulate, the customer gets a mixture of samples. They get all these different scent samples and different thickness and thinness, those kind of things. But we retain one at the office, so that
Yes.
when they choose it, I have a thing of it. But I also bring at least one of them home so I can test them and experience them and have real good feedback. So I have mishmash of little ugly jars.
I love it.
And then the beautiful brand.
Can you show just one a little bit closer to the screen, and then or
Yeah,
a
let me show
couple?
you.
Oh, I love the packaging.
Yeah, my daughter-in-law did a fabulous job. We just took over Eternal Returns, which was my daughter-in-law's candle company.
Oh, wow.
It's beeswax and essential oils.
Oh,
And so we're in the midst of rebranding it over to Ology Essentials, and making that available for private label as well. So we have all kinds of goodies. My favorite.
I just want to be in Tennessee right now. I'm gonna like shut the computer and come over.
I know.
It sounds
Complain. I got
beautiful.
bath
Oh,
bombs.
oh, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
come in that's I saw that's part of the private label and the white labeling as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They are available both that way as well. Yeah. And they're
Oh
beautiful.
my goodness.
They're big sellers, the bath bombs. As much as bath bombs are a love-hate relationship.
I would agree. It's like you gotta have the patience. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, but they are beautiful once they're in the bathtub and they fizz around you. Feels like princessy.
Right.
Oh my goodness, Kayla. This was, I think, let me just check one more time because I did take notes and wanted to see. But no, that's it. I mean, I have many more questions now after that conversation, but maybe we leave that for another time. So where can people find you? Right now, we looked at the website, but maybe spell it out one more time.
Yeah, there's Ology Essentials, and then Ology Essentials Labs.com, and then there's KaylaFioravanti.com. That's where I personally blog still, because I do write books as well. So I got to promote those somewhere, and those are on my.
Okay, well, I will put all the links definitely in there, and then there's also the Instagram account. You have a TikTok account. You have
Our primaries are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Right. Okay.
Because that's where our audience is. Those are our primaries. And then we have Pinterest and Twitter, all the things.
As well. Yeah. So I will link to those ones for sure. And then that's so cool. So if somebody comes to your website, do you have any promo code or something they could use?
Yes. Oh gosh, did I give it to you? It's Aromabiz, right?
Aromabiz 25. So that gives them 25% off custom formulation services. So I'm going to post all of this into the blog post and wherever this one goes. But Kayla was kind enough to give this code to us, Aromabiz 25, and then we're gonna get these balls rolling there. I'm going to be, it's so beautiful, but I'm going to go through your website right after our call and just dive into it even more.
Oh, thank you. There's so much more coming. So especially on Labs, make sure you sign up for the newsletter because there are so many exciting things coming.
I will do that. And I know,
I used to not have curly hair and I developed a curly hair product.
I saw the images.
And
yes. I saw the images.
That's about to launch.
See, it's amazing. You are like on a roll, like constantly. It feels like energy is coming through. It's just so beautiful. But I mean, this is, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to post everything. I'm going to post the promo code as well to everyone here. And then thank you so, so much. That was just, I think, just seeing something from a different viewpoint and possibility maybe for an aromatherapist to dive in, get maybe ready-made products, put their labels on and go and start selling immediately. I mean, what a huge hurdle is being taken away there.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's the goal.
And these different products you can offer then as well. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful weekend. It's a long weekend ahead of us. I don't know for you with all the busyness,
Right?
but thanks for coming on. And yeah, any closing words?
No, thank you just so much for having me. And I love this industry. So I love doing anything that I can do to, support it
Oh,
and
yes.
be connected.
Yeah, you can count on me. I'll be there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.